Yes, now, and welcome back to episode 156 of the Top Loaded Podcaster. And there's a massive talking point this week, which we're going to get into right away. But before I get into it, a massive thanks yet again to the guys over at Third Down UK for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast. Whether you need car supplies, custom car stand, great preparation kits, or whatever it may be, head over to their website, check our bio, head over to their shop. And whilst you're there, use the code TTP10 at checkout to save 10% off your whole order. And yes, there's only one news to start about, and that is PSA. So, following on from President Trump's announcement of the tariff for everything outside of the US, so for now, every single non US made product entering the United States of America will have to pay a new tariff. So, for example, if it is up to $50 card, it would be a $5 surcharge, or if it's up for $500, it's an extra $50. So, on this news, and not just for the UK, for the whole world, apart from the United States of America, PSA have currently suspended all submissions from outside the United States, which is massive, not just for the UK, for the hobby worldwide. It's going to have massive impacts on everything. However, it's one of these things was going to be quite intriguing because it's going to, how will this shift the paradigm between raw and graded, especially outside of the US? Obviously, for people, there's still ways around it. If you send your cars to someone in the US, you still be able to get them graded, but it's not as convenient as it once was. So, for example, PSA dealers in the UK, such as Subcenter and other places like this, will still have to suspend for the moment. They are working on ways around the actual issue and trying to work out a way to still have their cards graded. So, for people who don't know, with PSA, you still grade outside the US. However, Japan will be the only place at the moment outside of the US where they can get their cards graded. So obviously, advantage US and advantage to the Americas. So I'm going to just read part of this article for anyone who hasn't read it, because it's quite an intriguing one. So I'm just skipping over the main bit about the locations. So obviously, as we've said, about United States, PSA is reluctantly taking these measures to protect our international customers from significant tariff expenses. The newly imposed tariffs are against the value of the items in the order rather than on the PSA service fee. So for context, rather than the $20 for bulk, it would be on the, say, £100, £500 value of the card. PSA, so after that, the table below provides an illustrative example of the tariff charges that will be incurred by customers, which is on top of PSA's grading fee. So, for example, I'm sending off a $400 card on a $20 subscription. So that will have the value of $420. So, for example, if my value of the order, it depends on what tariff the tariff is, but it is 10 or 20%, which is massive for anyone who is sending cards in. And a few questions answered. So I recommend if you read their page, it goes into a lot more detail. But what effect will this have on a UK hobby, European hobby, or even Asian hobby? Obviously, Japan won't be as affected because they do have their own grading company with like grading facilities in, I think it is Tokyo. But for the UK, Subcenter, Grading Club, whoever it may be, is currently shut for being able to send cards off. So we're going to get this period in lieu of, we don't quite know how long we'll be able to all grade again. I will get to in a minute points of what is going to be done to counteract this, or how do we get around it, because there is going to be ways of getting around it, and that's another thing for people to think of whilst actually going to grade. So why is this such a big thing for us? Obviously, we know card values are heavily involved on their grades, and now for the UK, it's going to be a very slow emergence of, realistically, the only slabs that will be entering the market are ones that are people who have already submitted to PSA prior to this announcement, and then also ones that are being purchased into their system. So it's going to be, it's a bit unfair on everywhere in the world, but it's nothing to do with PSA. I actually do agree with their comments in terms of what they're going to go ahead and do. But Subsensor and a few others are currently in discussions with PSA of a way around it, because it's quite clever. And I believe that the lawyers at PSA have actually suggested this as well, that PSA dealers are technically a arm of an American company. It's because it's a US business and an official dealer of a US company, they are seen as a US employee still. So how they're trying to get around it is saying that this is not actually a foreign product getting imported into the United States of America, more like a US product going from another country back to America, and then afterwards, obviously, from US back to the UK. So if this is one way around, it'd be a very interesting way of looking at it, because the tariff shouldn't apply. Obviously, you can still get your tax and everything like that. That's always going to happen. However, it's going to be a case of, will they be able to get around this? Will they still incline fees? If this procedure happens and fees are still applied, then there's no way of doing it until PSA can open up. Or will they ever open up again? I think that is a question that people got to ask as well, that if these tariffs are in place, it could be until the next president of the United States takes over and they reduce the tariffs or get rid of them. So it could be 4 years of this. And it's obviously a lot of grey area, because we're still only just getting to know this now. Obviously, I'm not boring people with politics, but for people who are into politics, they may know as well that trade deals can happen between countries, and it might be something to work on in the long run, trying to get like these tariffs down. But at the moment, these are in place. Another way, which we're still waiting to hear more news on. However, at Europe's biggest card show, which is coming up in the 10th of May, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this time at Sandown Race Course, PSA will be in attendance, and I haven't seen any news otherwise from the team at London Card Show to say that submissions are not being accepted. I wonder if this is going to be one of the only possibilities to get cards graded, because you're handing the cards over in the UK and they're just taking them back with them. Hopefully, this will be a way round it. And if that is the case, I can guarantee you right now, the queues at London Card Show to get your cards graded by PSA will be astronomical. They will be the biggest they've ever been, and it will be fantastic for a lot of people to be able to get their cards graded. However, we still don't know about these tariffs, and will these fees apply in the long run, even if you're giving them over the UK. And I think that's be one of them that the team will announce, PSA, London Card Show, within due course. But moving back on to the effects of the market, and I think now, I would say quite a high percentage of the UK market now does go around grading. It's a lot more than what it was, say, 5-6 years ago. A lot of people do send stuff off to grade, to flip. That option is off the table for the moment. So, upcoming London card shows, will we see more raw cards available? Because of these measures of because of the measures of people not going to be able to get stuff graded, not going to send it. Are they going to just sell it raw? So it's going to get to a question, and I'll be quite intrigued to see how people are thinking of this side of it. Of, if there's more raw cards available within the UK, this could have potentially opened the possibility for people to get stuff graded themselves in whenever it reopens, because you might start seeing better quality cards appear in the market, especially the raw market. Because at the end of the day, I would say 97%, 98% of dealers at card shows grade themselves. And if they're selling a raw card, they're selling a raw card for a reason. They're not selling it because they can't sell it or anything like this. They have got that card because they think it's not going to 8. It might 8, it might 9. They don't think it will gem. So this might lead to a small period of time where at your card shows you're going to see a lot more raw cards, which opens possibility of people making more money. However, it does come back to who knows how long it's going to take a PSA to get this issue sorted. And as well as these tariff changes, PSA have put out a statement today regarding the overall service, which I'm going to read to you. I'm going to try and go through a bit quicker, because I think there's a couple of really interesting talking points from this, and I would say it's quite concerning as well, one of the points. But We greatly appreciate our customers' continued patience and are delighted work and process all orders and efficiency as possible to meet estimated turnaround times. As we continue to ensure transparency within our customers, we have these foreign updates. We are updating estimated turnaround times on our value bulk, and TCG bulk services tiers for submissions created on or after April 7th, which is the day of recording. Inbound submissions and in progress orders are expected to be completed under the original estimated turnaround times at the submission. Updated turnaround times as follows. Value is now 65 business days. So that is roughly just about 3 months. Value bulk is 65 business days. TCG bulk is 65 business days, and value bulk dual service, which is with autograph, is now 75 business days. So you're looking now at 3 to 3.5 months, excluding any bank holidays or any other events during these period of times, to get it done. In addition, as of Tuesday, 8th of April, so the day of the podcast coming out, the price for submissions at our TCG bulk level will increase. Obviously, for us, mainly sports people, that won't affect us, but it's good to know. However, this is the bit I'm very intrigued about. And I think they kind of swum over it a little bit, to be honest with you. And I'm surprised it hasn't kicked up a bit more of a fuss. Meanwhile, our receiving process, the unboxing and system entry of delivered packages, is currently taking between 3 and 4 weeks for incoming bulk tier submissions. If tracking on your package shows it has been delivered, or you directly handed your submission to a PSA rep at a show or event, we can assure you that your submission are secure in our facilities and in the receiving queue. Currently, bulk tier orders are taking approximately 4 months to complete from the date packages physically arrive at PSA. The estimated turnaround time clock does not begin on incoming orders until they have completed the receiving process and reach order prep stage. We are actively growing our team and integrating new technology to be able to handle the increased volume while maintaining our consistent and reliable grading standards. That's questionable. We're committed to reducing turnaround times for our services in the long term, but we're encountering some bumps in the road with the exceptional current level demand. So, first of all, the first thing to take from that is a lot more people are grading, which means there's more people in the hobby, there's more money going around. Great. However, if you're sending in on a bulk tier, your card could arrive at PSA on the 1st of April, and they might not even unpack it to the 1st of May. And then once it gets to 1st of May, that's when the 3 months starts ticking. So you're looking 4 months on arrival at PSA to getting it graded and getting it returned. So you're looking a third of a year. So even if you submit it now, you probably won't be getting it back to August/September. And then we know what sports cards are like. And I think this is a massive thing to take into consideration at the moment. If you are sending bulk tier, be prepared for 4 to 5 months potentially of not having your cards. Um, Obviously, they're saying they're applying new technology and also recruiting more, which is fantastic. And I think the best thing is the reassurance of their aim is to reduce turnaround times, because it got to a point, for some people might not know this, during the pandemic where it was some of the submissions were taking 18 months, 16 months to a year. And obviously they got it down really well. It was going really quick. Some specials were getting turned around in like 6 weeks. But obviously now it's slowly going back the other way with more grading. So it's one of them that it goes hand in hand. The more popular something is, the more strain on resources it is. And at the end of the day, more cards getting graded at PSA. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I think it's part and parcel. That yes, there's more cards available, so there's more to grade. Higher pop count, so it might be more value on tens depending on the set. So I think that's one to follow really closely in terms of waiting to see how it really affects the market. I think because of the politics that is tied in with the actual tariff side of it as well, it's going to be one that is still developing day by day. It's still so new, it's still so modern that we don't truly understand the true context of the tariffs yet, especially that there's not been much stock move between the US and UK. Sorry, UK to US at the moment, especially at the grading companies. But it's going to be a very similar thing for Beckett, SGC, Tag, Arena Club, whatever you grade it, these tariffs will apply. Obviously, there's ways around it. If you know someone going to an American show, you might be able to submit at one of the American card shows. Like I say, for PSA, London card show could be a very, very viable option. Will I be grading? I had a submission ready to go, and I put it all on temporary hold for the moment. For the sheer fact of one of the cards I was going to send is probably valued at, say, $300. I don't want to be paying potentially $30 to $60 more on top of the submission. So until the tariffs are really cleared up and stuff like that, I will be making a temporary pause to all grading until we find out more, until more people have had stuff graded within the UK. Obviously, some people will still be sending. It might be an option, you know, if you have sources within America that can do it for you, it might be a very viable option, because if there's less graded cards coming into the UK market, you might be able to charge a premium to see these cards. And I think now the card show season's really kicked off. It's going to be quite intriguing to see people's stock over the next 6 to 8 weeks, where submissions are slowly coming back. But at one point, there will be a lot more raw once Chrome comes out. F1 Finest is out this week. MLS Finest was out last week. So there's a lot of new sets coming. Premier League Prison's not too far away. So it's going to be quite intriguing to see how PSA has an effect on the UK, Europe, worldwide market, and what other companies do in retaliation as well. Can they get around the tariffs? Is there a way of doing it? I think that's going to be one to see. And there was another question someone asked me the other day regarding PSA. Is it truly worth grading a 1 of 1? And I think it's a fantastic talking point. And I will say it depends. Really do. I really think it depends. Because you're not encapsulating a 1 of 1 to make it worth more. It's an interesting talking point, because people go, yeah, but if it gets a 10, it's worth more. But it's not. It's just not. It's not. It's 1 of 1's a 1 of 1. And if I get a super fractal 1 of 1 of Messi, say from MLS Finest, say valued at 5k, and it gets a 10, it might add a small premium, but it's still a 1 of 1. Like, it's not like it's a pop 5 and you've got 4 9s and 1 10, and then that 10 drives up a big premium. If you look at some of the short print sets of the really big sets, you see 7 and 8s going for the same as 9s. So I don't think it will make that much of a difference. Famously, one of my PSA 6 1 of 1s, when it does come back, I might say something completely different. So that's how I see that. But if you're just encapsulating a 1 of 1 for your PC, I heavily recommend it. That's what I personally do. I have another 1 of 1 behind me, the Beth Me knockout I need to send off once I've got it all clear to get graded again. So I would say grade them. If you're, I would always say encapsulate 1 of 1s. And I know it's going to sound a bit corny or whatever it may be, but I think it's actually quite good to have the 1 of 1s publicly listed on one of the sites. So if someone's doing a rainbow, they can actually see that the card has been pulled. If there was such a website that you could track like rainbows / pulls and stuff like that, it would be an absolute godsend, I think, for the hobby. And I think if someone wants to do it, I think please do, because I think that'd be an absolute fantastic idea. So yeah, I think it's one of them. Personally, grade 1 of 1s, but don't worry too much about the grade. It's not the end of the world. Or worse comes to worse, and you really want to encapsulate it, but I don't grade it, just get it authenticated. For someone who doesn't know what authentication means, it's literally a case of it, rather than putting like PSA 9, it will just say authentic. So it's in the PSA slab, just without the grade, which is definitely an option, which I would consider as well. Moving on now. I'm going to move I normally do pickups last, but this week it's an extra special few break hits, which I'm really excited to show off. I need to do you'll see an Instagram post very soon as well. And obviously everyone knows a very, very good friend of the channel, podcast, and I want to get him back on very soon as well, Bart Sports Cards. Over on Whatnot, does Team GB. Yep, don't tune off. I've said Team GB. However, I thought I'd treat myself at the end of last month. And I thought, you know what, I always go for Alex Yee, one of my favourite Olympians of all time, chasing some of his lower number stuff. And then I always pick up another couple of Olympians that I have a lot of respect for, have achieved big things. And then there was one spot that was like, you know what, I've never bought it before. And however many boxes Bart's has now gone through, it was Sir Andy Murray, which I thought that's a cool spot. So I've got 4 main hits here, which I'm going to show off. Lucky enough, I did I did get pulled for me my 4th Alex Yee to 25 auto. So I can't complain about that one. If anyone is actually intrigued in Alex Yee cards, do let me know, because I might move some of these autos on of the 25s. And then to one up it, finally got a different parallel than blue. Got this absolutely gorgeous red Alex Yee auto to 10. And then, like London buses, once you get one with the collation, you get more. And I got this absolutely stunning Alex Yee 2-5 auto. And then it didn't stop there. And then this next hit really topped off the break. And it's now one of my favourite cards I do have in my personal collection. Sir Andy Murray, obviously Olympic gold medalist on 2 occasions. Just wow. To 5 auto. He's appeared, some people don't realise he's appeared in 5 Olympic Games as well. Absolutely stunning. So these 2 to 5. So obviously when PSA do open up their doors again, these 2 will be going to get graded. But obviously a massive thanks to my guy Bart's, who will be on the podcast again, obviously following up from our first episode, beginning of the month, beginning of the year. If anyone hasn't seen it, check it out. We're going to check in with him, see how everything's going, especially with the different streaming platforms. So another thing I wanted to talk about, and it's quite an intriguing topic, and what a few of my very good friends within the hobby obviously do a lot of buying and selling. And I was talking to him the other day about what is your motivation within the hobby. And some people it is to make money, some people it is to make friends, it's all different aspects of the hobby. And mine shifted quite a lot in the years that I've been in the hobby. At first it was potentially to make some money. Probably wish I stuck at that, actually probably helped to have an extra few quid in the bank account. However, how I would say probably 2 years ago to mainly about a year ago, my intention really shifted in terms of, rather than help, like trying to grow myself, let's try and grow a community. And I want to try, people might not have seen it, but I've launched a TikTok channel, TikTok page, I sounded like a right boomer there, about women's cards. And that's going to be my focus going forward in terms of my personal RP trading cards channel / platform, is to try and grow the popularity and I'm trying to think of the right word, the not transparency, but that's popularity and just the raise awareness. That's what I was trying to think of. Raise awareness for these cards, because there's a lot of people, and I say to a lot of people that they don't realise how big the women's community is within sports, and especially cards. We've got an absolute fantastic Discord, which got about 240 members worldwide. And there is so many people within the UK. All right, they might collect WSL stickers and adrenaline, but they might not know about the hobby side of things, which are now getting involved with it. And it's opening that door to people to see what else is out there. And I really want to try and be a spearhead for that side of it. So going forward, you'll probably see a lot more on my other side of the journey of trying to grow the women's game, open a lot more women's stuff, showing grading of women's cards, stickers, whatever it may be. And that's going forward, that is my goal. My goal is to try and be one of the more known personalities, so to speak, within the women's side. And I'm going to personally, obviously I'll do card show vlogs here and TikToks here and there, but my sole goal is women's cards in the UK, worldwide, and just trying to grow our hobby as we grow the women's game in general. For example, I remember going to an Arsenal women's game where there's about 300 people in attendance. And then recently this season, I've been to an Arsenal women's game with 60,000 attendance. So we've seen that side of the game grow, so why can't the hobby grow with it? And obviously, it's a bit of a ramble / rant for me, but that's for people who are wondering for the context of partly why have I dropped these episodes of the podcast down to fortnightly. It is I'm going to try and focus on other sides of the hobby as well as the podcast. And I haven't had any guests on recently because I've been quite enjoying just talking about this, but I will want to get back to interviews. So let me know who you want me to get on, who do you want me to approach, who do you want to see updates from, how it's all going. So drop me a DM on RP Trading Cards or the Top Layer Podcast of who you want to see on. What have you been enjoying in the hobby? And I think stuff like that as well, that people want to know, how can I make this the best podcast for you? Do you want other content? Let me know, because I'm trying to work hard on just trying to make this the best platform for everyone who's involved with it. And obviously, I'm going to close up this episode. There's not too much more to talk about. But it's just another, no, I like to say this every few episodes. But for anyone out there who needs someone to talk to, who might be struggling with anything, my DMs are open. They're completely private. No one will see it. If you just want to chat about cards, you might have something going on in your life and you just need that someone to talk to, let me know. I'm always available to help people / talk. I love talking cards. Everyone loves talking cards. Come up with some questions. Let's just get chatting. But just remember, there might be one person out there, might be 20 people out there. You're never alone in the hobby. There's always someone to talk to, no matter what the issue is. If it's something very personal and you just want to share it with me, feel free to DM me. I'm always available, always happy to chat. But like I say, don't ever feel that you are alone. You're never alone in this hobby. There's a lot of people out there, and I'm always here willing to help. Just talk to someone. So I just wanted to get that as we approach these lovely summer months and card show season. I look forward to seeing a lot of you at Sandown in a few weeks' time already, just over a month's time, to the London card show at Sandown. Near enough all tickets are gone, so if you are looking for tickets, be quick. I think there's only a few maybe weekend or Sunday tickets left and some Friday tickets left as well. But I'll say a massive thanks yet again to the guys over at Third Down UK for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast. Whether you need card supplies, custom card stands, great preparations kits, streaming kits, you name it, they have it. Head over to their website, check the link in our bio, or head over to their shop and use the code TTP10 at checkout for 10% off your full order. And I'll just say a massive thank you for everyone yet again out there. It's April already. It's crazy where the time's going, but I hope everyone out there is doing well, staying safe, buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. But most importantly, happy hobbying, and